What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla stock and the broader markets. Just know that I am not a financial planner. Anyways, as far as Tesla's going, we have resistance at 321. If Tesla could clear this, we're looking for an attempt for 325 or above. However, if Tesla ends up losing 315, we're looking for a move back down towards 312. As of right now, we're trying to favor the upwards direction, but this depends on some factors and data coming out later on today. So I'm going to break down what's happening today. It's going to be a very, very special day. So just to start things off, we have some good news for the stock market and Tesla. First and foremost, non-farm payrolls is at 147,000 above expectations, and the unemployment rate actually went down. So we were talking about how the market was expecting an increase in unemployment. We were expecting unemployment to increase, lots of jobs to be lost. Instead, we got the opposite, a very, very strong report. Right now, the US labor market has added 147,000 jobs in June. That's above the 106,000 expectation. Once again, unemployment is below expectations, which tells us or implies the labor market remains quite strong. That once again tells us that the Fed could keep rates higher for longer because we could handle pain. We're not seeing a whole lot of pain that we oftentimes see during interest rates. But keep in mind the overall trend of unemployment is going up slowly. We're on an uptrend. It's just that for the month over month basis, it did go down just a little bit. There is still a risk of higher unemployment in the future. I would say all risks are not necessarily off, but for this month in particular, there is a victory, and so far the market will like this data. Now, keep in mind the data could be very biased, so this could be revised in the future. But as of right now, this is more bullish, and that's part of why the market's holding up. Even SPY is pushing during the pre-markets, and we're going to see if we could hold these levels. On top of this, there's been some news coming out involving Tesla. As you guys know, Tesla delivered about 384,122 vehicles, a 14% decline compared to the second quarter of 2024. But this was technically very close to expectations. But keep in mind that, with what's going on, there's still negative headlines coming out for Tesla about how their deliveries, decreased. Also, there's news about how the German sales volume fell by 60%. So keep that in mind. There are lots of negative headlines coming out still. And that could actually drag Tesla down just a little bit or even like slow it down a bit compared to how much it should have run. But despite that, there is news that could push the market higher, and that would also help Tesla if we get a lot of things correct, at least later on. For today, the stock market's basically going to be open only until 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's going to be closed tomorrow, which is going to be Friday, July 4th. But like I said before, today we have an early closure at 1 p.m. So the stock market will be closing early today. Finally, President Trump is very unhappy with Jerome Powell. He's calling him too late Powell and telling him to basically resign. And he wants to see interest rates much lower than where they currently are. And then President Trump's bill is also making a lot of progress. I think it's set for a vote very soon. This is important because the House is going to be voting on this. So we're going to see what kind of reaction we get. President Trump will be giving us once again his remarks soon. We're going to see if this advances through the House to get to President Trump's desk. The market's optimistic about this. The goal is to get President Trump to sign this tomorrow. So we're going to see if this passes the House. And then, like I said before, the June jobs numbers were not bad. The Vietnam deal that President Trump has announced was not bad whatsoever. This is what's helping the market push quite a bit. So keep that in mind. And on top of this, we're going to be watching to see what else happens as we have some more AI updates, but I'll talk more about those later. So that being said, we're going to focus on Tesla stocks. So if Tesla is bearish, in case you want to see like a move down, you essentially want to see Tesla lose support right over here. If we can't hold around this, around the support right over here, around this 316 area, there's going to be a risk of us returning to 311 if that fails us, if 315 to 316 fails us. If we're bullish, you want to see Tesla break 321 to start pushing for 325 plus. That could help Tesla push higher if that ends up being the case. I forgot to mention we have some data coming out at 9:45 a.m. and 10 a.m. The very important ISM services data that may cause some volatility. So we're going to see what the market pumps or dumps. But as of right now, it looks like Tesla's range bound between 321 and 315. We might just kind of trade sideways like this. And we're going to see if Tesla breaks to the upside or the downside. So you want to be very careful just to be safe. But I do think the odds favor that even if we do get some kind of pullback move, Tesla could still bounce if the whole market bounces after President Trump's bill passes. That could be what's about to happen. So look for some consolidation on Tesla like this between our EMAs. Might dip a little bit. It's possible it comes a little bit lower, but then I could be looking for a breakout later on to form a nice kind of like V-shaped recovery. So keep that in mind. That's what I'm eyeing for Tesla so far. As far as SPY goes, now if we're bearish, first off, you want to see us fill at 620 and then come back down towards 617. If you're bullish, you want to see us hold above 622. If that's the case, we're looking for 624. As of right now, we're making higher highs and higher lows, so we're favoring upside for 624. But it depends on our ISM manufacturing numbers. We're still bullish as of right now. We are favoring attempts to hold above 622. So look for 622.5 as our resistance. If that breaks, we're going to continue to go higher. As long as we don't do 620, we're looking quite good. On the QQQ, as we predicted, we're now retesting all-time highs. If we lose 548, we turn back down. As long as we're above 550, we're favoring an attempt for 555. Could continue to uptrend, but it also depends on our data that comes out. If we hold above 552, we're looking for 555. If we lose 550, we're looking for 548. We could uptrend a bit more, then we're going to see if we reject or not. But as of right now, I think we're doing a good job. And then keep in mind that the data at 10 a.m. is also going to be affecting this. For the IWM, this is actually a very bullish chart in particular. Might come down a little bit. We're kind of rejecting on the 4 hours, so it could be returning to like 220 to 218 before it tries to bounce again for another leg up. So keep that in mind. ES is looking pretty good. We're going to try to get very close to. We actually touched 6,300. Might consolidate here depending on our data, but then it could try to go higher if we break 6,300. If we lose 6,250, though, we could turn back down. Hopefully, we hold up, and that's going to be looking pretty good. NQ is looking bullish. Might try to slowly push for about 22,950 to 23,000. And we're going to see if we return back down in case that ends up being the case. Bitcoin's kind of flat here. If we end up losing 108,000, we're looking for a dip back down. I expect this to consolidate and maybe slow down, and we'll have to see what kind of reaction we get. For Nvda, if we end up losing 155, we're looking for a dip back down to 151. And as long as we hold this, we're going to be favoring 160 plus as our potential targets. So watch and see how things end up going, as the 160s look very possible. I do think Nvidia is going to be looking for another push towards 160. Apple's looking a bit more bullish as long as we don't lose 207. This is favoring 214 after their new AI acquisition deals. For Palantir, we look bullish, looking for 135 to 136 as our target. We're going to see if that breaks or not, but I could see this go a little bit higher. AMD, as long as we hold 139, we're favoring 141 plus. PayPal, so long as we don't end up losing 175, we're favoring consolidation and a push for 177.5 or above. For Coinbase, we need to hold above 347. As long as that holds, we're favoring the 360s. For Amazon, as long as we don't lose 219, we're favoring 222 or above. For Meta, as long as we're above 720, we're favoring 725 plus. Google looks bullish. As long as we don't end up losing 178, we're actually favoring an attempt for 181. And on Microsoft, I want to see it break 492. If that breaks, we're looking for basically 493. The VIX is rejecting here, looking bearish as the market looks bullish. Tesla could also follow the trend if the market breaks out more. It may consolidate in this range between 321 and 315 for some time, but then there could be an attempt to go higher. So it might kind of consolidate like this before it starts to bounce and break out for 325 plus. I'll be watching for that on Tesla to make a V-shaped recovery as time goes on. May depend on the data that comes out and also what happens involving President Trump's bill. But for now, Tesla looks like it may consolidate and break out later on, so keep that in mind. Anyways, thank you for listening. Have a good one, and peace out.